Hello everybody and welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying the kind of thing you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to us here at the channel. Today we're going to be looking at possibly my most autonomous vehicle. Certainly it is the most mighty and unstoppable, being this one. This is Humpty, my Liner Roughrider 750. So, welcome to Meet the Fleet. Humpty here because Humpty Dumpty is a Liner Roughrider 750, meaning that it can transport 15 CWTs worth of cargo inside the skip here, or rather more usefully 750 kgs, hence the model number. Now, the history of Liner is somewhat interesting. The Roughrider wasn't part of a larger family of construction vehicles. There was the Giraffe, which was the predecessor to your modern teleloaders, but the idea was soon developed by bigger companies like JCB with tried and established technology. Liner itself has its origins way back in 1920 with a Mr. Liner, who had a small but popular metalworking and welding business, and following the end of the war he decided to shut and move, and in 1955 he reopened and within a week had come up with a new four-wheeled quite large cement mixer, and this proved to be very popular. So he patented it, and off the back of that set up Liner Concrete Machinery Company Limited. The Roughrider appeared in the early 50s, I think in 1952, and remained in production all the way up to the 80s in this kind of form. I think this one is a 1970s model, just from comparing how it looks to other photographs, but if anybody knows how to actually date one or how to read a serial number, if they could let me know in the comments below, I would be eternally grateful. But for now, 1970s-ish. I expect by now most of you will have seen the collection caper, and this thing represents the best £25 that I have ever spent. And in terms of enjoyment per pound, I don't think anything will ever beat it. It certainly represents the best value for money out of anything I have ever purchased. Collecting it was pretty much as how you see in the video. There are some slight things. For instance, I did get permission to use the loader. I mean, I didn't say why I needed it, but there was permission. Actually measuring to put it in the van was as you see in the video. I used my feet and then we picked it up and tried. The only other slight variation was that I discovered this and inquired about the price 3 days prior to actually getting it, where I was told how much it was, immediately paid, and pretty immediately picked it up and put it in the van. Obviously, starting it for the first time and the enjoyment and excitement was real. I don't think I have ever seen Matt so excited about anything. Humpty is powered by the mighty single-cylinder, air-cooled diesel Peta PH1, an engine with a massive capacity of 659 cc, which generates an earth-shattering 8.2 horsepower when it's spinning at 2000 RPM. The truly astonishing thing about these little engines is that they started being produced in the 1960s and continued all the way up to the 1990s, which really shows what a remarkably durable and versatile little unit it was. On a more personal note, it's worth pointing out that Peta were briefly based in my hometown of Ipswich in the late 1920s. The thing does look quite tatty. The skip was in pretty poor condition when we got hold of it and has continued to become more Lotus-esque with lightness being added to it. The skip does have two positions, as the adverts of the time proudly claimed. It has this position and then the forward locked position like that. And then obviously it's a manual tip. By doing that, it goes forward and then it's a manual reset as well. Pulling that and and doing that to lock it into place. At some point, the front wheels and hubs have been replaced from those of a Land Rover, and moving forward this should make it significantly easier to find spare parts. The thing has the smallest and cutest prop shaft that I have ever come across. It's just wonderful, and that is mated to a 3-speed gearbox, which is back to front. Third is where you'd expect to find first, and then reverse is where you'd expect to find third, and this royally caught us out the first time we attempted to drive this thing, and particularly when we were trying to start it. I suspect that the bearings in the steering wheel have now gone, because as you attempt to go from left to right, the thing winds itself up and down until it jams itself and eventually turns the rear wheels. This does rather ruin the enjoyment of driving the thing, because it's more akin to driving a ship where you have to plan ahead from where you want it to go. The controls are very similar to that of a car. You have a steering wheel which turns you from left or right. The handbrake is there, and then cleverly marked out with A, B and C is the accelerator, the brake and the clutch. Now this machine is fitted with anti-stall technology. When you push down the clutch, the accelerator also moves, blipping the throttle as you change gears, which is very, very advanced indeed. At full throttle, with this fully depressed through the floor, we've clocked this machine moving at a mighty 8 miles an hour. Humpty is very much a work in process. Both the gearbox and the diff leak oil and are going to require some fairly major work in the not too distant future, and most of the tin work requires some kind of patching. The skip itself is pretty much at the stage where I'm going to have to throw it away and start again. And of course, all the paintwork needs touching up, which brings up an interesting question. Do I keep it yellow? Or do I paint it back to green, because that's the colour I think it's meant to be? Let me know in the comments below. Part of the plan for this is, once I have it restored and all sorted, is that I want to register it to be able to take it out on the road. And then I really want to go to the pub in it, because I think it'd be hilarious to have to wander in carrying the starting handle. And of course, I want to take it back to the garden in which it had laid abandoned. The machine has been of great use to us here in the shed, whilst the 35 has been undergoing a rebuild, allowing us to drag things in and out without completely knackering ourselves. And we've even managed to actually use it for what it was designed for. When our landlord was putting some new posts in, this was used as a dump truck, and occasionally it gets pressed into service, moving odds and sods about for them as well. This thing is not only one of my most enjoyable and amusing vehicles, but it's also probably the most useful thing that I have ever bought. And certainly, it remains the bargain of the century.